What's the story, guys? Welcome to another episode of What Happens Here podcast. Today is proudly sponsored by Urban Performance Labs. Now, check this out, guys. This is one of our brand new affiliates. We're bringing them on board with What Happens Here podcast. We're talking about anything to do with the fitness industry, protein powders. We're doing post-workout drinks. We're doing pre-workout drinks. We're doing CBD. Check them out. Urban Labs Performance. How could we forget our proud affiliates, MMA Uncensored? Check them out. These are one of the #1 mixed martial arts sites on the internet. Go out and check them out, guys, because they got some really, really great stuff, very typical, and they just keep reposting every day, so check it all out. And, of course, today's episode is proudly sponsored by...
In Ireland, the highest form of compliment in any pub is an insult. So I'm considered quite complimentary. Proper No.12 Irish Whiskey.
What's the story, guys? Welcome to another episode of What Happens Here podcast. This is Marcus Deegan, your host, direct from Sin City, Las Vegas, right here at the Show Creator Studio in the What Happens Here podcast room. Thanks very much for joining us. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, iTunes, or any of the other platforms, thank you so much for supporting us and hanging out with us. If you're watching us on YouTube, welcome to the show. It's fantastic to have you here, guys. It's Monday and it's only 11 o'clock in the morning, but it's fight week. It is fight week. So I'm going to hang on 1 second, guys. Oh, just taste it. UFC 257 live from Fight Island is coming up this weekend. The rematch with the notorious Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier. This has been about that, it's been coming for a little while now, and everyone's really, really excited about it, especially me. People are asking me where I get all this really cool Conor McGregor stuff. Well, let me tell you, if you go down to the Las Vegas Fight Shop, that is on Las Vegas Boulevard in the outlet malls. Go in there, tell them Marcus sent you for all of your fight shop gear. Man, I can tell you what, you've seen this man in magazines, you've seen him on TV, you've seen him on documentaries. Well, this weekend you're going to see him again showcasing his skills. It's been about a year since his devastating performance over Donald Cowboy Cerrone in 40 seconds. Well, Dustin Poirier, he's coming for you now. UFC 257. Let's play that promo, and this is what it's all about.
January 23rd, Abu Dhabi. I mean, we announced it the day that he signed the bout agreement. It's a fight.
Everyone talks about Conor whenever he comes up in the news. They're completely dismissing Dustin. All they're doing is looking at the result of the first fight.
This is a completely different fight. I feel like we're both completely different fighters.
They're skipping everything that Dustin's done since then.
Dustin Poirier is not going to Abu Dhabi to get beat by Conor McGregor.
It's not about trying to get back a guy who got me. This is just, it's business.
I must bring it back to the basics, look after my rest, look after my nutrition, treat my body and my mind like a temple, and then everything else falls into place.
That's it. Conor McGregor! Too easy!
I think this would be a much better, more interesting, close fight.
I'm fully committed to being the best version of myself.
Now, if that doesn't give you goosebumps, my friends, nothing will. Part of Team McGregor is joining us here today. He is a boxer fighting out of Ireland, a professional boxer, 16 bouts, 15 wins. He's been Conor McGregor's sparring partner for the last couple of months now, all the way from Dubai. I'm very, very, very happy to welcome to the program today the legend himself, Mr. Dylan Moran. What's up, my friend?
Marcus, thank you, brother. Thank you for having me.
So just let everybody know around the world, where are you and I? I'm in Las Vegas. Where are you right now?
I'm in the gym in my hotel in Dubai.
So you're in Dubai. You've come from Portugal. You've come from Ireland. You're a little bit of a jet setter these days, my friend. Did you ever think that you'd be traveling around the world as much as you do?
No, living the dream, as they say. Portugal, back to Ireland, now in Dubai, and Abu Dhabi to Yas Island this weekend.
So I see you are all over I see you all over the internet. You're driving Lamborghinis around Abu Dhabi. You're hanging out with Conor. You're hanging out with Conor McGregor. I tell you what, for a young Irishman of your age, that's a bit of a huge accomplishment. Can you tell everybody kind of where your career started with boxing? Has it been something that's been a part of your life? Did you come into it earlier on? Are you from a family of boxers? Where did that all start?
Yeah, so I come from a family of boxers first off, and I've been boxing since I'm a baby, Marcus, since I'm a toddler, as they say. And yeah, it's been a lifetime of fighting, and here I am. It's ended me up with Conor McGregor in Dubai.
So you've had 16 professional fights. What would you say has been your greatest achievement during your career?
Until I become a world champion. That's the only achievement that I have on my mind. So yeah, I've done nothing of note as of yet. When I get a world title, I'll be proud of that.
So what have you got coming up next? Obviously, you've been in training camp with Team McGregor. What have you got coming up for your own career after all this is over and done with?
At the moment, I don't have anything lined up. I've been busy the last few weeks here with Conor, just enjoying it. I've had a busy few months coming to the end of 2020, so yeah, a few weeks off, and then back to work, back to the drawing board. I get a fight locked in as soon as I'm back to Ireland.
So it's been a little bit of a hectic year, 2020 for everybody around the world with the COVID-19 devastating the entire planet. How did that affect you being in Ireland and training and trying to pursue your goals in life? How has that affected your life so far?
So I was living in Germany, Mark, and fighting for a company over there. And that company went bust because of COVID. So I ended up back in Ireland and just got to work. Got 3 fights, 2 in Spain, 1 in Poland, and the Conor McGregor sparring camp came off the back of that.
So you've been in Germany. I've been there myself. I do love it there. They got great people. They have got great food. So you're back in Ireland when?
I came back to Ireland the end of August, and like I said, I got straight to work, and I started camp down with McGregor about 5-6 weeks ago, and I've been on the go since.
So tell me how that works, Dylan. So you're sitting around the gaff, and then you get a phone call, and someone says, "Hey, this is part of Team McGregor. We want to have a chat to you." Can you explain that experience and when you got that phone call and how that went down?
Yeah, I was in a hotel in Madrid, and I had just fought 2 days previous, and I got a phone call just saying, "Would you be good to go to Portugal next week to spar Conor?" And yeah, like you said, being a young Irish kid, that's a phone call you could only dream of. And I didn't have to think twice about it. I was on a plane the following week and landed in Portugal and got to work with the champ.
Now, how did Conor know who you were or know of your achievements? And why do you think that you were picked specifically to come and train with Conor? Do you have a similar style to Dustin Poirier? Were you brought in there because of your height similarities? Were you brought in there to kind of mimic what he does? And did you study him for this fight camp?
I had done a bit of kickboxing before boxing, and yeah, Conor would have done his homework on who he was bringing in, and obviously he thought I was the man for the job. And when I got to go ahead, I started studying Dustin from day one. And you know, some of the spars had finished, and the coaches had said, "Jesus, we thought it was Dustin in there at some stages of the spar," you know. So I definitely hit the nail on the head in terms of being the Dustin sparring partner.
Now, had you met Conor previously to the fight camp? And if not, had you followed his career? I mean, have you seen what he's done for the country of Ireland for mixed martial arts?
No, I hadn't met Conor before the sparring camp, but obviously I had heard of him, you know what I mean? A massive fan, and I've been watching his rise to the top since he began them few years back. You know, he's done massive things for the country in Ireland, and there's nobody in Ireland that doesn't know Conor McGregor. And it's just been a dream being about him the last 5 weeks and sparring him and working with him.
Well, I mean, firstly, congratulations on that achievement. I mean, as you just said, I can just imagine what it means to be a young Irish man that's in the combat sports industry, and then to get a phone call to say that, you know, the legend himself, Conor McGregor, wants you to come and work with him. So, first of all, congratulations on that. And I'm sure that your parents and the country of Ireland is very, very proud of your achievements. So let's talk about, so you get to Portugal. Well, what was your first meeting like with Conor?
Yeah, it was a bit of a shell shock, I suppose, but you trying to act natural, aren't you? But yeah, I was taken back. But Connor is a dead friendly fella. Really, really nice guy, and made me feel very welcome over there. And it was an amazing experience. An amazing experience. We've had some cracking spars since, and just a top bloke.
So we'll definitely get into that sparring in a second, but I know what you mean by when you meet Connor for the first time. It's a pretty extraordinary experience. I can just imagine what it felt for you, knowing the power of his left hand, and you thinking, Jesus, Maddie and Joseph, I'm in there tomorrow with this fella. How is this going to feel? So we'll talk about that in a minute, but I just want to bring up a video. So you know what? I think is it a year ago? It's a year ago today. 1 year ago today is when Connor fought Cowboy Cerrone here in Las Vegas, and I was very, very fortunate to be part of that celebration. Can we pop up that video for a second there, Ian? And let's show exactly what happened a year ago today. Straight up there. Check that out. We partied till 4 in the morning, Dylan. There was lots of proper 12 being drunk. This was at the encore at the win after the Donald Cerrone fight. Very fortunate enough to go and hang out with the champ and celebrate. Cutman Andy, all the boys were there. Thanks, Ian. That was great. Yeah. So it's funny how obviously Connor has such an amazing team behind him. How did you connect with all the team? I know that Andy's a good friend of yours. He's a good friend of mine. He was supposed to be on the program today. Unfortunately, we had a few technical issues and he couldn't be here. But can you talk about Andy? He's a great bloke, right?
Hey, Andy is a proper character, a proper cookman, and a proper fella.
and he wears proper T-shirts. Yes, I was like, can we pop up? Yeah, that good bunch of guys, right, Dylan?
Yeah, without a doubt. It's an amazing team Connor has around him. A lot of interesting people, and everyone is as interesting as the next. And I've got on with them all on a great note since I've met them all. And they're just great people to be around. Very welcoming, make you feel very at home. And I've learned loads. The wealth of knowledge is within his team, and that's why he's got them around him. But yeah, all really, really nice people.
So what would you say, I liked how you said it's a learning experience all around. So you jump into this environment where you're with all these amazing people from this specifically trained Team McGregor. What have you learned about Connor that you maybe didn't know previous to coming into this camp?
I was always interested in his work ethic. How much work does it take to get to where he's at and to put in performances like he's done. And now firsthand, I've got to see what goes on behind the scenes, which was something very interesting to me. There's no guesswork here. It's done like clockwork. And it's all by the book, textbook stuff. And just to be involved in it was great. And it's definitely a learning curve for me in terms of when I begin my next training camp, I'll have a higher barrier to set.
So how many sparring sessions per week would you have in the camp with Connor?
Connor wouldn't always spar with me, so he could have like a kickboxing spar on a Tuesday, he could have a boxing spar with me on a Friday, and then he could have a jiu-jitsu on Monday. So there was different martial arts sparring for Connor, and it wasn't always just boxing, so his sparring would be spread out within a few guys.
So there's been a recent photograph that's been released on the internet that's kind of gone viral of you and Connor and Coach after one of your sparring sessions. You both looked pretty battered and pretty bloody, and there was lots of blood all over the boxing gloves. Can you talk about Connor's power and his skill as a boxer?
Yeah, Connor's power is for real. The hype is real. His boxing skills are top notch. His sparring was like a chess match, real high quality boxing, and it was really enjoyable. I know the picture doesn't look like that, but it was enjoyable stuff, and hopefully I get to do some more. Really enjoyed it.
So I think we got a little bit of footage of Dylan and Connor and a little bit of Team McGregor. Let's just bring that up right now so we can see what this young man has been working with and dealing with for the last 6 weeks with these legends of the game. Got that tape there, man.
I just want to move around, get the feel of it.
Warm up your pads a bit.
Yeah.
Just sharp.
Yeah.
I'm working off the shots. Big fist, please.
There's a good array of masters at their crafts, you know. I've got Sean at the head, overseeing all the mixed martial arts elements of it. Roddy on the pads. I've got Phil Sutcliffe out of Crumlin Boxing Club. He's got a couple of guys here with him. We've mixed it up a little bit, kept it fresh. So it's been a good run of training, so I'm very happy with it.
Conor has it down to a fine art now. He has a team around him that are so good, right? But remember, Conor put that team around him. He picks his own shots, he picks his own sessions to make sure that he's ready. Conor's on fire at the moment, right? He's on fire.
I had a masterful performance against Donald Cerrone.
Yeah, so Dylan, when you watch videos like that, how does that make you feel when you watch that, knowing that you were part of this McGregor era? How do you feel, brother?
The hair stands on the back of my neck watching them videos, Marcus. You know, you have to understand. Conor's a sensation where I come from, so I'm used to just looking at him on social media, the newspapers, the news, listening about him on the radio. And then to have ended up like watching that clip, being involved in UFC 257 as his boxing sparring partner, it's crazy.
I bet your ma's very proud of you, brother. I bet you she is. That's sensational. So listen, let's just talk about the whole respect issue. I mean, look, I know respect as men is something that we learn as we're growing up. And then, of course, when you're in the fight game, there's also a certain level of respect that's unwritten, that's unspoken about, that kind of people have to abide by. Recently, there's been a little bit of disrespect that's been thrown around the industry. Recently, your name has been brought into that disrespect. Recently, your name has gone viral around the world, where a certain internet hero has put you on blast. This is where your name was brought up, and it has been brought up worldwide. A video was sent out of you being your only loss, which is fair. People do lose. But that was spread around the world, and you were mocked over that. Nothing about your 15 wins prior to that was brought up. Just getting mocked for that loss. Can we talk about that situation right now? And who is this absolute fool that we're talking about?
Jake Paul. It's had to been a mad few days, Marcus. A mad few days. You know, the whole Sparring McConnor thing, and then to wake up being gone viral all over the internet. Jake shared a video of my only loss. It went worldwide, and I replied to him. You know, I put it on him, gave him an offer you couldn't really refuse. You're either man enough for it or you're not. And no one's heard a peep out of him, you know, for as long as he's breathing air and he doesn't reply. Jake Paul's my bitch.
So obviously trash talk goes with the game of combat sports, boxing, mixed martial arts. What was it that he said that kind of changed it for you?
It wasn't, I suppose, like I said, it's just who he is. He's not a fighter. You know, he's a YouTube guy. The guy who makes videos, for God's sake. You know, he's like a spoiled child running around his mansion in America, dishing guys who've come up the hard way, who've worked hard to have what they have. And it was just, had it been a fighter, had it been Dustin Poirier, I'd have probably took it on the chin. You know, he goes in the ring and backs it up. But I'm looking at, like I said, this spoiled brat in America, and I'm like, who do you think you are?
So the fact that this guy's running around, running his mouth, he's probably only been training for a couple of years. Then for a young man like you that's been doing this, you know, your whole life, it kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth of respect. Is that kind of where you're coming from?
Yeah, exactly. And my view on it as well, Marcus, is what did he have to gain from that? You know, I haven't got no millions of Instagram followers or 50 million contracts. Do you get what I'm saying? So it was just pure disrespect. When he done the one to Conor, you can see what he's getting at. A massive money fight. You know, but when he done that to me, That is nothing but disrespect.
So, I mean, these guys come out and they're trying to get these money fights, and fair enough. They he's got a little bit of clout over the internet. So how about this? Is this kind of where you're coming from? And tell me if I'm wrong, Dylan. You don't really give a shit about the money. You don't really give a shit about any contracts. You maybe just want to come here to America. Let's meet up in a gym. Let's do some doghouse rules, and let's talk about what you've been saying online, face to face. Is that where you're coming from, kind of?
Exactly, Marcus. Couldn't have said it better myself. Exactly. No shit talk, no videos back and forth. You've got a problem with me, I come to America, end up. What happens, happens.
You see, when I grew up in the 70s and 80s, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have social media, Twitter, and if you talk shit to someone, you knocked on their front door, you yelled it out, and they came outside and you sorted it out. In this day of age of the internet, it's given people the opportunity to be able to disrespect professional fighters from the other side of the world and get away with it. So, Jake Paul, there you go. You've said what you had to say on the internet. You've said what you had to say online about this man and about Team McGregor and about Conor. So let's just push all that out the way for a second. Let's do it face to face now. Let's bring Dylan over here. Let's get you guys together at the famous Floyd Mayweather boxing gym right here in Las Vegas. I'll come and cover it. Let's get you guys in the ring together and let's do 3-minute rounds and let's see how you go. I don't know if you'll make it out of the first one, Jake. Because you're fighting the Fighting Irish here. You can't just go doing this and expect nothing to happen. It doesn't work like that. Dylan, is there anything that you want to add to that, brother?
I just think his publicity stunt has backfired to a certain extent on him, Marcus. Like you said, it went worldwide. Everybody was commenting, what's he going to say back? And no response has done Jake Paul no favours. And as long as he mentions the boxing fight, my name will be stuck beside him.
Go on, my son, of course. So before we close out here, Dylan, do you have any predictions for what's going to happen this Saturday night? Being that you've been on the end of one of those, how do you think it's going to go this Saturday, my friend?
Put your wife and kids on a first round knockout.
That's exactly the way that I thought about it as well. Well, listen, brother. I do appreciate you coming on the program today. It's just been an honor to talk to you. Hopefully, one day when you're here in Vegas, we can catch up face to face, and we can get this whole Jake Paul thing going on, because I think it needs to be done now. It's been said, it's been spoken into the universe. So let's put it to practice. Any parting words before we go, my friend?
No, Marcus, just thanks for having me. It's a great show you've got going on here, and it's my pleasure. The pleasure is mine, and I look forward to meeting you in person.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please say thank you very much? Welterweight, 16 fights, 15 wins. True Irishman right there, Dylan Moran. Thank you very much, Dylan.
Thanks, Marcus.
Well, there you go. That's how it happens this weekend. UFC 257, the notorious Conor McGregor. I'm going to be watching it. Now, listen, there's something else that I wanted to talk about. My good friend, Brody McVitie, he sent me a couple of these books, right? Now, I was supposed to read them. Brody, I know that I have not read them yet, but I am going to get onto this. This one here is called 1,205 Things I Want to Tell You. This one is 500 pages of whining. And this one here is the Meathead Manifesto. This is the one that I'm going to read first because it kind of goes into tile with my name. So, yes, Brody, I will be getting onto that. I want to thank my sponsors, MMA Uncensored. I want to thank my amazing affiliate, No.12 Irish Whiskey. And I want to thank all you guys for listening and for watching. This is Marcus Deegan for the What Happens Here podcast. It's fight week, baby. Let's go!